Captain Dolores Claiborne. I was going to show how to set up a new ship, or how I go about it at least. There's a lot of little things in this game that make it a little frustrating. So many little menus everywhere. In fact, I'm just trying to find the right one right now. Reputation tab, events, store, account reclamation, and Lukari Hokun science vessel. I've already unlocked it through the event when it was introduced, so I can always repurchase it on any of my captains. Use this item and rename it to what it appropriately looks like. A comm badge. I don't care about the number. Okay, so commissioning the comm badge. Ready starship. Okay, well, they want me to go back to our space dock to ready it in space. But it's active now, so I'm not going to worry about that here. I got the warp core that's supposed to come with it. Need to get rid of this one. Switch starship. Comm badge. I hope my voice is coming out clearly. I was told that there's a huge issue the other time I was trying to do it. So, I look at ship. Ship comes with a science console and a bunch of generic gear, which nobody ever wants to look at ever again. All Mark 10 at that. So I already took the liberty of the mission that was related to its release, Signs Importance, ran it multiple times, and got all the fancy gear that came down with it. Now, when I opened the box, I already got the Braden Reconnaissance Warp Core, and since it's clearly what's designed to be here, I'm going to go ahead and equip that. And for mission rewards, the deflector and the Braden Covariate Shield and the Braden Reconnaissance Hyper Impulse Engines. That's kind of fun because once again, those were designed for this ship, and you know, I just throw them on there just for the hell of it. Maybe I'll change it later, maybe I won't. It was designed for the ship, and it automatically gives me the set bonus that comes through it. It is a science ship, so maybe some of these science items will give me special abilities, particle detection, auxiliary power, auxiliary bonus, which is perception, good for science. Engine power, great, because that gives me other bonuses. Allows me to not worry about that. Shield loss safeties, interesting. Nothing active, huh? Oh yeah, there's something active down here. Now this is the default setup that came when I equipped this ship, and this is where most of the work I think is going to go. Now I'm going to go ahead and take all my weapons, even though I'm probably going to swap these all out, and mark them with auto fire by right-clicking on them. Now I'm going to get rid of them. I'm going to unlock the tray. I'm going to go down to page 10, and I can see them all here. I'm just going to drag them all out. I don't want any of these here. Now I look back and I see what I'm left with. These are this is a okay. You might get used in some random instance. So you're going to go up to 4. The call trade freighter, which I'll only use in space. I don't like seeing these little letters up here, the shift junk. So I'm going to take these because if I have them down here and I can mouse them, I don't really need a hotkey them personally. So I'm going to get rid of those. Take them up to 5. And now I see some of the stuff that really matters. You're an inventory item. You're an inventory item. What's this? This is the proto-matter field. I'll leave these here. Actually, I swapped those around, I think, and I moved them over a slot. On all my ships, I usually have brace for impact and evasive maneuvers in the same location. I've never actually really needed to use ramming speed, so I take that away, and self-destruct I don't use either, but I don't even... Oh, there it is. No, that's a threatening stance. Don't really use that, especially on a science ship. Slipstream drive, I use that only in sector space, and I can equip it, use it here. So that's something I'm not actually going to use in combat. And I don't see where self-destruct is, but whatever. Don't use that either. There are some things I always do the same, like the warp cores, good ones, Braden Enhanced Engines Capacitor. Warp cores usually come with a capacitor, and I usually put that right in that slot there. And then I'll follow up with science abilities, things that I get just for being a science captain. I'll put those in A2 to A5, or A6 is it for that one? A2 to A6, I believe. It'll come around when I finally get it finished. Okay, nucleonic beam, scan, scattering field to A5. Photonic fleet. Those are abilities I get for being a science captain. I put my engineering abilities in the same place, with C5 always being the fleet action. Personal note, C3 is always rock and roll. So that way on all my ships, all my captains rock and rolls in the same place. These engineering, tactical, or science abilities in the same place. The fleet bonus in the same space. Lone Wolf. Lone Wolf came from Specialization Pilot. Let's see. Right here. Down on the 4th tier. And so did Rock and Roll. Rock and Roll pops up. What's the icon look like? Should have been somewhere in here. A lot of these are passive. Rock and Roll, right there. So once I learn this ability under the pilot specialization, it becomes a button I can pull down here. Same thing with the Lone Wolf, which is good for manusoling. So I move, oh, no, wrong one. I move Lone Wolf over here on all my captains. And that's actually, now I think of it, yeah, here it is. You can find it up here in the available skills to drag. And this is where you find all your skills, including all the bridge officer abilities. Anything in your inventory. It's just anything you can drag down here is going to be up here, and it gives you the basic information about it. So let's see, what are you? Fleet support. Oh yeah, that's a okay. Yeah, so these 3 are abilities just for being a captain. So I usually have fleet support over the 6 location, Alt 6, the Nimbus Distress Call over Control 6, and the Delta Alliance reinforcements over Control 8. There's additional abilities that come from active traits. These are passive, these are passive, these are passive and or active. Actually, these are all passive. I thought there might be some active ones. Space reputations. This once again comes from the reputation tabs, and you can choose up to 4 out of all of these things. Every time you gain a level in a reputation, you get additional talents, and this really, it's just a lot of stuff to dig through. Ground reputation, active reputation, and these are ones you don't see in active. These all give you buttons to click. And all 4 of mine, no, 3 of mine are space-based, and the 4th one isn't. Now, one thing that I find kind of frustrating is all these things are automatically added here. These are not, so I got to go find these. The refracting, Tetrion Cascade, personal preference, I always have it, and I always have it on C4. The biomolecular shield generator, that's going to be way up here, always on C7. And the quantum singularity manipulation, because sometimes you just need to get out of combat for a moment. But of course for science it has a lot more power to, and I put that right down here on 7. So, you know, these are some things that are always here. These are this ability is provided by a console, this ability is provided by a set, so I usually will put those down here. On my engineering captain, this is always the engineering ultimate. Science ship with scan, so maybe I usually like putting that on 2, because it's just a nice little key to press, and you might use that one often. Protomatter field, micropulse overcharge. What does this do? Reduces my turn rate, increases my flight speed, so it's kind of like the impulse overdrive. Then it really kills my engine unless I have the 4-piece set bonus. And everyone behind me gets plasma damage? I gotta see what this looks like in effect. Oh! Nice. And it's supposed to, after 4 seconds, kill my engines, right? Oh, unless I have the 4-piece bonus, which I do. Interesting. Blast everybody behind me. Okay, so I got those set. See if there's anything else here that I missed. I don't think there is. And just to start off, I go to loadouts, and I'm going to go save this to my loadout standard. Sometimes when you switch between ships, it ends up jumbling this for some reason. Now the next fun part is determining what bridge officers you want. This is a engineering command slot. Science, 4 science tag. So Neil Exil has all my combat abilities. Tractor beam, particle, photonic shockwave. It's all, it's your personal preference on how you want to set these up. Ensign, lieutenant science slot's always going to be my heals. So science team and hazard emitters. Generally, a lieutenant engineering slot would always be my engineering heals, but I got a commander slot. Or is it ensign, lieutenant, commander? It's a little confusing sometimes. So I'm going to go ahead and put my heals there. So engineering team, emergency powered shields, and directed energy modulation. That's pretty normal for my personal setup. Tactical's limited, but I always try to have at least something torpedo and something beam or cannon, depending on how my ship equips. So, do you have that? Torpedo spread and beam array overload. So obviously I'm going to be relying heavily on these science skills for combat ability. An unassigned slot, which means I can put anything I want here, including this character who's command specialist. Nope, I can only do that in special tournaments. Well, that's interesting. So Rekrexar here gives me my engineering heals, and then I don't have any command officers. Oh, well. Yeah, that's one ability I'm not going to get. For the last slot, a lot of times I'll just throw another combat, but I think I might see about science. So who do I already have assigned? Neil Exil and Nakura. And Sazonia, which isn't going to be bad. We'll science team out. Tachyon beam is always useful to strain their shields. And the photonic officer will help me get everything else up. Okay, so I think I'm comfortable with that. And, I've set them up. I'm also going to go back and I'm going to save my loadout again at this point. But now everything down here looks like a freaking mess again, because all of these bridge officer slots got dumped into whatever empty slots there were. I don't care for that. If I can mouse it, I don't need it. So, C. Anything with a C? C9. CO. But you should be able to recognize these. These abilities I'm going to drag up and off. And just move them away. There's a Shift 1. And an Alt 7. 1. I like the numbers, helps you find out what's down here that you don't want. Shift 1. And a Control 2. And 6. Gotta go up another page. Okay, these are all clear to numbers. These are all clear to numbers. These are all clear to numbers. Save it again. Save to standard. And recently with a patch, this is how I ended up loading in on all my ships. But now I got to decide devices that I want to put on board. I haven't even decided the weapon type. Scorpion fighters, they're nice. They have a shared cooldown with these other ship summoning abilities. Subspace field modulator, that's a always for me. Take that. Always put that on 6, because you know what? It's just an overall defense. Unless somebody's using proton weapons, 15% defense, and 34 all damage resistance. That's always good in a tight spot. Batteries are always nice. I put consumables back here. Oh yeah, I might as well just put in a heavy plasma satellite, because I got no other thing to put here. And now it's just deciding what I want to get with the rest of this. So let's go ahead and lock this tray for the moment. Once again, things have changed, so I save. And pull off the stuff I don't want. I don't believe this ship can equip cannons, so that's not even a question. And I need a new secondary deflector. So I click and I see, you click and you open up and you see whatever you have, and the only thing I have is the generic one, radiation dot. That's not a bad idea. Science buff, debuff abilities. But this gives me, bonuses. Solenoid secondary deflector, shield restoration, drain, shield capacity, shield siphon. That's kind of fun. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that on there. I don't know what type of ship to make this. Does this give me any bonuses to damage? Phaser? Polaron? Anti-proton? Maybe I'll make an anti-proton boat. Speed boost. Okay, so there's the micropulse overcharge. It's given by this exclusive item. So there's no particular weapon that any of this gear says would work specially. And if you're wondering, this ship had this one console, and I see that there's 3 other consoles in this set that are probably not out. I imagine they're going to release a 3 Lucari ships that you can purchase that will have each of those other... oh no, multi-mission systems. So that's probably the multi-mission ships they just released. There you go, multi-mission faction explorers. So these are where the other 3 consoles are for that set. So even if you buy this set now, you can get 3 consoles, but the Force console is still on the Lucari vessel, which can now only be purchased through the what the hell, those orange crystals. Wow, I'm totally blanking on it. Little orange crystals you get from lockboxes, yeah. So you can only purchase it with that now. So be lucky that you got it now, because it makes it a lot cheaper. So what do I want to put? Anti-proton? Anti-proton sounds like fun. But do I even have enough anti-proton weapons? This is, since I'm not in a combat zone, I'm in outside Earth space dock, I can access any of the weapons on any of my ships. Little ship icon means it's on a different ship. There's a bank icon, which means if it's in my bank, and these are just in my inventory. I think I'll go Disruptor. Or Nausicaa, yeah, Disruptors. So, cause I believe I did that on my science vessel. So Nausicaa and Beam Array, and it comes with, no, gotta bring the bonus. Nausicaa, so that automatically gives me a Disruptor bonus. Only 2 tactical consoles. And now that I've made that decision, this rest of this should be a little easier. Anything that gives me Disruptor damage is what I'm going to do. So I see this one here, Disruptor damage, also part of set. The Preserver Resonant Technologies. So, Preserver Resonant Technologies are going to be the next thing I am adding in. And that's how I basically made the decision. There wasn't anything else that I could see that was going to give me anything. I just got to see if I have any more disruptors. Tetrion, Polaron, Proton, Graviton. There we go, 3 Withering Disruptor Beam Arrays from the Orenco. I'm just going to go steal those. So the weapons are done. Oh no, it's... Well, yeah, because I pulled everything off, and it's moved all my icons around again. So, this is the fun part. Or something. Unlock the tray. Get these out of here again. But I should have a couple of other new abilities from these sets that I picked up. So let's see. Harmonic firing matrix. Okay, there that is. I'm going to take that, drag that over here. Is there anything else from him? Resonance amplifiers. And this set gives me weapon augmentation, power initiative. So there's no new active ability there. So I don't have anything. It looks like it might not have anything. So I'm going to put on the micropulse overcharge over to 3. But I still have a lot of slots left. What else gives me disruptor damage? That does. Oh, there we go. Just straight up 30% disruptor. Maybe I should go with that. Instead of always looking for set bonuses, like I do. The point defense system. I love a good point defense system. And switch that up like that. I like having my point defense system there. It doesn't give me any other bonuses, but it's not a bad system. I got to get the rest of this console eventually. Engineering consoles. Well, we already have that. That's universal. But yeah, I'm hoping you get the idea of all this stuff. I'm trying to think. What do I need on this? Proton particle stabilizer is something I used to go to all the time. Weapon and engine settings just give me more bonus power, which is always useful. 0-point energy conduit plus bonus power. If I can't think of anything else, I'll put this on here. But I'm really enjoying the Trillium D. Kinetic resistance, all damage resistance, hull hit points, shield hit points, and changes my auxiliary power to shield power. So I'm going to have a little bit more power over here. That's nice. And defense. Polaric modulator. It's all about maneuverability. And it moves my weapon power to engine power. So that's a really great thing to have right there. Let's get something better. Timeline stabilizer. 15% cooldown on science bridge officer abilities. I mean, that seems like it makes it... How do you not select this for a science ship? I really like that. And that brings in another active ability, the Timeline Stabilizer, which I generally just don't really use too much. I probably should. Impulse, antimatter spread. I just don't have a lot of consoles to put up here. And the thing is, though, since I don't have a lot of engineering consoles, but I'm a science ship, so I might have more science consoles. So let's go ahead and move these universals up. Maybe I'll have something better in science to put down. A lot of defenses. Auxiliary power setting, flight rate, engine auxiliary power. Might as well just go for that just for the hell of it. Just for the bonus stats. What I don't have is stuff that just increase my science abilities, which I probably should be looking in for. Damage resistance. Yeah, I need to find something that's going to boost my science abilities, actually. So I'm going to leave these 3 blank for the moment. Isn't there something here? Oh, when I move these 2 items, it moved their abilities. Ugh, that's frustrating. So many little things. So now I have to find the protomatter field and the point defense systems. There. Save to standard. So I really got to go out and find 3 more science abilities that are going to improve my actual science abilities, since I'm going to be using this row for a lot of my combat activities. So I want to look for gravity well and things that increase my gravity well. Now, I've gotten all this done. There's still one more area where I need to look at that will be saved, and that's my duty officer log. Active space. It already has the previous set of active space characters and has already saved it, but I don't use cannon, so I can get rid of him. Tactical team, I don't need that. bridge officer abilities. Okay, we'll use that. Drain shields with tractor beam. Oh, okay, we'll look at that. But this is where some of your really good bonuses come in. Photonic abilities, which photonic fleet, photonic officer. Gravity well to knock engines offline. That's what I'm looking for right here. Gravimetric specialist, though. Gravimetric specialist. Chance that when one gravity well ends, another gravity well will start up. So I'm going to see if I have anybody that's bound to me. I don't, so it's just this guy. And chance for them to knock gravity wells offline. You know, other people aren't going to agree with my settings, but, you know, I'm here to have fun. So now that I have that done, it's one more thing to save. There's just a lot of little things to worry about for setting up a ship. Disco ball. Which I can see where they call it that. Not to mention if I have the sucker set up with beams, and then I get... And I think I might do that, actually. Stations... Change this to fire at will. So now if there's a lot of ships, it will look a little bit more like a disco ball. This should be fun. Well, that's all the fun stuff about setting up a new ship. I didn't change any of the visuals, though all I have right now on this character is the command stuff, and I don't know if I would want to. But yeah. Have fun with that one. I'll just get rid of this stuff here.